Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 5 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is the finals of the ESL Open Cup 225 for the European server. And this particular series is going to be a best of 5 between the two players that are currently in Europe actually competing in the game. I think that's fair. First off, in game number 1 on the map, I have to be careful here because Cyril is currently doing his military service and Rainer is currently over in Korea. So these two are currently, I think, the best on the European server. But anyways, spotting right here in the top left-hand corner, joined by the little polar bear on the main command center. We're looking, of course, at Clem's main base. And his opponent from Denmark, playing with the blue Protoss pieces. He goes by the name of MaxPax. MaxPax actually very recently reached a new all-time high when it comes to his ladder MMR. So MaxPax, definitely a ladder hero. He plays a ton of ladder games. He's basically online 24/7. And as of me recording this video, he reached a new all-time high. So currently he's still sitting at that all-time high because he actually hasn't played on his highest ranked account in a couple of days. But anyways, currently he's sitting at 7,271 MMR. Now, in order to get to Grandmaster League, you need about 5,000 MMR. MaxPax is sitting at nearly 3K, which is ridiculous. So the absolute upper echelons of StarCraft 2, maybe like a dozen or so players historically, have ever reached above 7,000 MMR. MaxPax sitting at nearly 7.3 is ridiculous. Honestly, at that point, you need a win-loss ratio that is just off the charts. Obviously, he will be facing off against players like, for example, Lambo, like Showtime, maybe like Hero Marine, right? He'll be facing off against the German players, apparently. Those are the ones that pop into my head all the time, I guess. Anyways, he'll be facing against them regularly, and if he loses, which is not embarrassing at all, because those players are amazing, he loses like 30 points, and if he wins, he gains like 3. So, in order to go above 7k MMR, maybe that's a slight exaggeration, okay? But in order to go above 7k MMR, you need to have a win-loss ratio that's ridiculous, and you need to consistently be beating the very best players from the server that you're playing on. So, impressive stuff right here by MaxPax, sitting at nearly 7.3. To put it in perspective, maybe, let me check out what Clem's MMR currently is. Yeah, so Clem's MMR is currently 7,043, which is very respectable. But it's still more than 200 points below where MaxPax is currently playing. Stargate opener right here for our Protoss player. Double gas start here for Clem. That means he's going to be able to pump out a lot of units here very quickly. But of course, it also does mean that he is going to delay that command center. Now, eventually it will finish up. But usually this means that Clem is going to try and get some sort of damage done as soon as he's got a bunch of units out. So we'll have to see. It's going to be Cyclones and Marines. There's already a Widow Mine here. We'll probably see a Medevac in just a moment too. Ghost River does allow you to cross the map very rapidly. So it's one of those maps where you can technically, if you micro really well, get a ton of value out of your units. Now, I actually decided to cast this particular series after I saw a highlight clip of something that happens later on into this match that was posted to the StarCraft 2 subreddit. So I don't really want to spoil it for you, but later on in this game, later on in this series, and I guess I accidentally spoiled at least some of the results for myself, which kind of sucks, but later on we are going to see some of the very best micro that I have ever seen. So I'm excited for it. That will be happening a little bit from now, though. I believe it's the 3rd game of this series, so don't go anywhere. Ooh, did I just do the YouTuber thing where I tried to, like, make sure you watch the whole video? Guys, smash the like button too while you're at it, okay? Or just gently click it. You don't have to smash anything, but for some reason everybody always talks about smashing like buttons. It's gonna be a Phoenix opener right here for MaxPax. Already though, the Medevac, yeah, full of units, has gone across the map. Phoenixes are really good, but they do need to intercept these type of units, and when you're not entirely sure about what's happening, this could actually be a massive issue. So this map, it's so short that you can get your army across really quickly. And Clem just showed up completely uncontested. He could have even gone after the Cyber Core. Delaying the Warp Gate research would have been an absolute disaster. This is of course still a problem here for MaxPax, because what exactly do you do? There's a Widow Mine set up over there. You're basically just going to lose everything here. Yeah, he's thinking about going for some counterattack damage. Mule does make a lot of sense. But you don't want to waste all the energy on your Phoenixes either, do you? Because, yeah, it's nice to get some damage done, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you don't, well, lose all your energy by killing SCVs. So you can't actually stay alive anymore a little bit later on into this game by defending at home. Nice pickup micro here by Clem. Putting those Cyclones inside of the medevac. Trying to mitigate as much of that damage as possible. Big Daddy Immortal at this point is out. Apparently there's one Marine. Just checking what's going on here. Phoenixes have returned back home. Okay. I think MaxPax should be able to stabilize here eventually, but that's the downside of building those structures right over here on top of the high ground. Obviously though, this was a relatively late expansion right here for Clem. So economically speaking, it's not like MaxPax is in a terrible position. He did manage to keep all of his Phoenixes alive as well, only really losing structures up to this point, which does kind of suck. He did lose structures, including the Stargate as well, so he's not going to be able to make any more Phoenixes until, well, probably never. But he won't be able to remake this. I mean, he could, but I don't think he will. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Good control right there as well by MaxPax, lifting up that Cyclone for just a split second to make sure that that lock-on ability is on cooldown, so the units can retreat without getting killed. This is a scary push, though, from Clem. Yeah, Clem hasn't really lost that much himself. A Colossus is only about halfway done. First Phoenix pops out of the sky. Third Nexus in a world of trouble. Is there enough, though, here for MaxPax to defend? Immortals are good, but not really against Marine-based armies. There we go. Nexus gets cancelled. Liberator now shows up as well. Obviously, there's no Blink or anything like that available right here for MaxiPax. He's thinking about getting it here eventually, but when he's only on 2 bases, life is a bit scary. But now the Colossus is out, and extended thermal lance or not, very difficult for Clem to actually push into it. Phoenixes, once more, roaming towards the other side. They will scout right now that there is a third command center done. Not much of a surprise right there for Max. But obviously his own third base was delayed for quite a bit, and yeah. In the meantime, Terran has been building workers for quite a while, so really strong start right here by the French Terran. His Stimpack is certainly not the quickest it could have been with this particular opener, but he managed to get a lot of value out of this, well, just combination of units. You can really make a crazy variety of units work in the early game as Terran, assuming you micro everything well. Obviously, this one is very Marine focused, but you can kind of literally do anything. Extended thermal lens, though. Coming up. Just a few seconds away. Yeah, we're engaging, though, before it's finished. Siege tanks in the back having a grand old time. Viking up in the air, too. Still shooting away at the Colossi, and that was an absolute disaster of an engagement right there for MaxPax. I don't think that really could have gone much worse right there for our Protoss. He engaged right before the upgrade was done. He didn't realize the amount of siege tanks that were on that high ground, and ultimately Clem manages to shut that down with relative ease. Now Clem is going to be the one, though, who will try and see if he can potentially get a cancel on that third once more. Those siege tanks are in such a good position. Stimpack is going to finish up in a moment, too. We do have charge, so that could potentially be the saving grace, but the problem here is that MaxPax is already so far behind economically. We're talking full 3-base saturation right here for the Terran player, going up against a, well, just 2-base Expo right here. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. He's getting value, though. Yeah, those Archons and Zealots are putting in a lot of work. GG is cold ultimately, because there's just no way that MaxPax is going to stay in the game, and it's going to be Clem who obtains the victory in game number 1. Honestly, brilliantly played right there by Clem. Really not making any mistakes, just microing his units very well, and also setting up mistakes for his opponent, right? So, setting up his army in such a way that MaxPax may overextend. It's difficult. It's very difficult for Protoss to continue playing when you do end up falling ever so slightly behind early on. That is a bit of a theme in this matchup. Unless Protoss opens up with 4-gate Blink Stalker, usually it's quite difficult to punish Terran mistakes. However, if Protoss makes a mistake early on, usually that means they will lose the game within about 5 minutes. At the very least at this level of play. It's very difficult for Protoss to recover from falling behind early on. Obviously, though, the main solution to that is just, well, don't fall behind early on. Just don't make a mistake. Honestly, that's good advice for life in general. Yeah. You know all of those mistakes you're making? Just don't. Yeah. Next time you're about to make a mistake, just don't do it instead. You're welcome. I can become a life coach. Download my program, guys. It'll only be $1 million. Well, you guys can't see, but I've got my pinky finger in the corner of my mouth. $1 million. Does anybody even still get that reference in 2024? I find myself quoting movies from my childhood. And I realized I am starting to be that guy. You know? I'm starting to be that guy who's basically quoting like the 90s and the 2000s equivalents of like the Terminator and stuff. Anyways, I'll be back with more soon. We've got ourselves a factory coming up here once again. Double gas a little bit later for Clem because he's decided to prioritize the good old command center on the low ground. When Clem is feeling it, usually he grabs the game with both hands and never lets go, man. He's got this weird quality that he can just... Look how comfortable that Reaper was. That was a little bit of hold position micro right there, or stop command micro, where you, for no reason, inflate your APM, just because you can play with your opponent's units a little bit. Trying to avoid that shade. This time around, MaxPax is gonna go for his good old faithful, well, Blink Stalker opener. This is something that he loves to do. We'll have to see how many gateways he decides to go with. Against weaker Terrans, usually he will go for 4 gateways. Against somebody like Clem, usually he will go 2, maybe 3. Sometimes 4. I feel like if we see MaxPax though going 4 gateways, 4 gateway Blink Stalker that is, against Clem, and he delays his 3rd Nexus for that long, it almost is an indicator to me that he is not comfortable playing that day. Nice snipe right there on the Adept. Okay, we are gonna go up to 3 gate right now. The middle of the road approach. Actually, no, we are going 4 gate. I can't count. 2 plus 2 is... I did it. I did it, guys. 4 gateways in total right here for MaxPax. Yeah, so I kind of feel like this is what MaxPax... So this is like MaxPax's fallback, you know? This is both his go-to build as well as his fallback. This is like the backup plan that he's got in every single match. The thing is, I've seen him do this against Clem a million times, and it used to work. Like a year, maybe 2 years ago, MaxPax would win against Clem all the time with this build. But Clem is very good at microing against this sort of stuff now. Obviously, the margin for error here is absolutely tiny. And this is the type of build order for Protoss where if you make a mistake, you just straight up lose. It's very easy to accidentally lose here. So Terran can't really afford making any errors. Likewise, obviously, MaxPax can't really afford making any errors if he plans on winning the game. It's gonna be a delicate dance. There should be a 3rd Nexus. He usually makes it right about right now. Right now. Wouldn't mind dropping the main base, so he's a little distracted. Clem retargeting a million times. It's so annoying. Well, he probably wants to make the Nexus though, because this is all a little late. Instead, we're gonna go for an additional warp in on the other side of the map. Nexus has been delayed in favor of that. There's a Widow Mine, obviously, but only a single Widow Mine. Okay, let's see. How good is that Blink Stalker control going to be? So far, so good. Siege tank ends up going down. There's another tank over here, though. Misrallied Stalker. And just like that, Clem holds. So that was 2 Stalkers right there for a Siege tank. You can continue the aggression, but keep in mind, there is still no 3rd Nexus. MaxPax sitting at... There we go. This is like a... I don't know, 45 seconds or so later than you originally intended. Picks up the wrong Stalker. You can't afford making those mistakes. I think we may be getting a view at a very rare concept that a lot of viewers and pro gamers and whatnot struggle with. I think what we're looking at right now is a professional gamer being a human. Yeah. Yeah. Next thing you're gonna tell me is that pro gamers have emotions and feelings too, and they actually can have like different performances based off of those emotions, and maybe the amount of sleep and caffeine and all that they've had. I know. Crazy concept. Bunch of mistakes right here though from MaxPax that we normally don't see. Him losing 7 Stalkers at 6 minutes is quite uncharacteristic. It's not over yet, But so far, this push has certainly not been justified. Stimpack though, only about halfway done. Those add-ons are looking very exposed. Pick up the weakened units. Siege Tank got another hit in. There's one on the low ground too that did confirm its own kill. It's still dangerous though. Terran has obviously lost a lot of his important units. Can we pick up? No, Medevac is going to end up going down. Okay. I think it's just a bit too much. In the meantime, Liberator on the other side. Now confirming 9 probe kills. So ultimately, this one little Liberator is basically doing the same amount of economical damage as all of these Stalkers have on the other side of the map. Only a single SCV has gone down. Obviously, workers were pulled away as well. It's quite difficult to justify and quantify the exact resources lost, but Terran's just about to hit a big power spike. Upgrades on the right side of your screen are going to be finishing up in a moment. Combat Shields is not going to be too far behind. That Observer goes down. More probes, by the way, were killed. There's one Liberator now. 10 confirmed kills. It's also going to force in a warp in at home. So, yeah, the fact that another round of units is not going to be joining the main of the Terran is, or at least not yet, is really going to slow down MaxPax. Let's see what he can do, though. Sometimes he can pull a rabbit out of a hat with these sorts of pushes. 4 Stalkers inside of a plane. Okay, 3 SCVs is nice, but nothing really to write home about. Okay, Stimpack, Combat Shields, +1 infantry weapons, all of it is done. The concussive shells for the Marauders is just about to finish. We do have a 3rd command center on the back of this too, so Clem doesn't have to go all in. Instead, he's just, he's gonna secure that 3rd base and he's gonna try his very best to also do some damage on the other side of the map. Prism takes a bit of a beating. Recall used right here on the other side of the map. Saving grace right here, though, for MaxPax is that this is a pretty easy map to defend on. So this 3rd base is easy to defend. 4th base, likewise, also. Not one that Terran can very quickly push into. I think on other maps, Clem would have probably tried to punish him, but instead he's just playing this relatively safely for now. Just defending and building up his units. Ghost Academy coming up. We'll probably see an armory as well in just a moment to go into the +2. Charge is going to be done in about a minute. Same can be said for the Robo Bay. Colossi should be joining the battlefield soon, but we're still a while away. And this is a scary Terran army. Yeah. 4th Nexus is going to get denied, and that's really all that Clem is hoping for. Another Observer ends up going down. And even though this is a very playable game right now for MaxPax, you can tell that he's starting to fall behind. It's the little things that add up over the course of a game. So now we're seeing the 4th command center come up right around the same time as the 4th Nexus gets rebuilt. A little bit before that, actually. Usually in this matchup, the Protoss has a faster expansion than the Terran. Zealot run by over here, not controlled much, so they are also going to get cleaned up for free. Zealot run by up north, also handled brilliantly so far right here by Clem. Clem is doing all the right things. Yeah, brilliant stuff, really. Hard to pinpoint one thing that's been going really well for him, but it's all the little things that accumulate over the course of a game. Look at the supply count right now. Suddenly, Clem's army is like twice as big as that of MaxPax. Now, this is double Robo here for Max. He's trying to chrono boost out those Colossi. Extended Thermal Lance will be coming up in just a moment too. +1 is going to finish up, so given another minute or two, MaxPax is going to hit another power spike. If he loses that 4th Nexus again, though, he's going to be in a world of trouble, and I just don't see another way out. Great timing right here by Clem. 4th Command Center in the meantime is done, and upon seeing that, GG is called. It's Clem who wins the 2nd game of this best of 5. Alrighty, next up we find ourselves on the map Amphion. Now what exactly is going wrong here for MaxPax? Couple of small mistakes, really. I always talk about it, but the margin for error at high-level StarCraft 2 is absolutely tiny. You can't really afford making mistakes. Clem so far, not really making any mistakes of his own. Microing his heart out with all of the units. And in general, I think 4-gate Blink Stalker is strong. It's just that it's hard to justify against the best Terrans in the world. Maybe it would have been a lot better, though, if MaxPax didn't lose, like, a Stalker here, a Stalker there, right? I know that it's much easier said than done, but he did end up losing a couple of Stalkers unnecessarily. That's probably what he's thinking of right now. He's like, well, wait a second. If I would have had, like, 3 more Stalkers during all of that, I think I would have actually been in a dominating position. Because that's ultimately how this game works. Once again, though, those siege tanks, just like in game number 1, being an absolute pain in MaxPax's side. Alrighty, Cybercore. Nexus on the low ground. This time around, we're not doing a cheeky wall-off anywhere. I guess on Amphion, you really don't need to. 1 pylon over here is going to be just enough. Does Mario Kart speed up... this is what I think of anyways. I always assume that the Reaper is going to get a nice little speed boost as soon as it goes over those little... whatever they are. The LED strips on the floor. I feel like I haven't seen this map all too much, by the way, as of late. This one together with Dynasty. Not super common in the series. Maybe a little bit more frequently, though, in best of 5s. I guess I've been, over the last week or so, I've been casting quite a few best of 3s as well. I guess this is like the extra veto if you do end up getting one more. Anyways. Reaper goes in. Kills a probe. It is time to dance. I don't think you need to, actually. No, I think you just keep running. Yeah. No reason to get fancy with the micro here. Command Center is going to come up in a moment. It's once more going to be the Twilight Council. So I'm assuming this will once again also be the transition into Blink. You can technically go into Charge if you want to. You could even really go, if you want to, into Glaives. Very difficult, though, against Terran, because obviously they create wall-offs where they can lower the supply depots. I know. Protoss, even though they have that insane technological superiority, they do not have doors. Yeah, for some reason, Protoss technology have never reached to the... Yeah, doors. It's not a thing, man. Okay, so there's Blink. How many gateways will we be building this time around? There's gateway number 2. Will we see 3 and 4? How many are we gonna have? That's the question. Mein Deutsch ist sehr gut. I had German in school for many years. Not very good at it, though. No. I actually failed pretty badly when it comes to... It's actually kind of funny. I failed pretty badly in Dutch high school when it came to languages. Now, in Dutch schools, we get a lot of languages. I had a ton of them. And I wasn't very good at it. Which is kind of ironic, because, you know, I speak about 10 times more English these days than I do Dutch. Anyways. Medevac drop coming in. Blink, of course, not done yet. Here we go. Ooh, very nice Widowmine hit. Cyclone on the right side, trying its very best, baiting those Stalkers away from the main engagement. Shutting down quite a few of these unit-producing structures. Okay, one of the Stalkers running dangerously low. Nice pickup right there by Clem. Oh, Clem once again picks up that Cyclone right before the Stalker shot was about to connect. If you pick it up at the perfect moment, you don't actually take any damage. Once again, does the same thing. Do it again. Do it again, Clem. Oh, he does it again. He gets another Stalker. Remember what I was talking about at the very beginning of this video. This is some of the most ridiculous medevac micro in the entire game. That one Cyclone. I mean, it ended up going down in the end, but it got so much value. Actually, maybe we should be praising the medevac instead. Jimmy, by the way, with his pal Mark, still going to town as well, trying to bait some more of those Protoss units to the direction of the Widowmine. Okay, good Blink right there. Ultimately, of course, yeah. Maybe a bit of an overextension there from Clem, but ultimately, Clem does manage to clean that up. That Blink upgrade really coming in clutch once again. But some ridiculous control right there by Clem. I don't think you can really hope for much better micro than that. Raven going across right now too. MaxPax just barely does not see it. Alright. He decides to go for a Dark Shrine follow-up, but already he's going up against Ravens. So Dark Templar, I mean, they're gonna get shut down pretty hard. Let's see. MaxPax trying to get some damage done. Sees the Raven here. Does he do anything about it? Well, he will find a Raven over at home too. When you know it's not a Stargate opener, these Ravens are so annoying. There's a ton of space. So anytime that this Raven up north here has energy, you can just fly in, drop an auto turret, and then fly away. And this is one of the downsides of opening up Blink Stalker. You have no reliable counter against those units. You could technically go for a Stargate, but it's really expensive just to try and deal with the Phoenix. But at the same time, I mean, he's already lost 6 probes, and I've got a feeling that's just the beginning of it. Okay, let's see. Stalkers need to get some damage done. We have a blink. Okay, both siege tanks end up going down. Nicely done right there by MaxPax. Raven also overextends for a little bit, but Clem just barely in the nick of time pulls it away. There's Stimpack, combat shields, +1 infantry weapons once again. The holy trinity of Terran upgrades. Or maybe we should call it the holy Archon of Terran upgrades. Probably better. And there's the Templar Archives also coming up. Charge is gonna be nice, but this... Clem. Clem is feeling it in this series. He is looking dominant. Stalker's still going to town, trying to get some work in. Observer, a little overextended. He knew that there was a Raven. Another small error right there by MaxPax. Yeah, and I think this shows us that sometimes pro gamers just don't feel it 100%. And if the opponent does, it becomes a very difficult game to play. Clem is looking pretty much flawless in this series. I mean, he made a couple of small errors, but really nothing all too significant. He once again knows exactly what he's playing against. He's seen, obviously, the Templar Archives right here, and he knows the moment at which he needs to attack if he wants to avoid Psionic Storm. He still has about 30 seconds to potentially fight this Protoss army without upgrades. There's the Raven, dropping a bunch of auto turrets. So much damage being done here. Well, Storm is going to finish up. Charge is going to finish up, but Clem is hitting a razor-sharp timing. He's going to be able to kill all of the economy over at the 3rd base. In the meantime, he's securing a 3rd Nexus of his own. Well, I mean, I guess it's a Terran Nexus. Fair enough. Now Storm is done. Now Charge is done. But it's too late. Yeah. It's so obvious too. Clem micros against it very cleanly. Gets an Archon too, because there was no room in that prism to pick up. Maybe again a slight overextension if you want to be really critical. We have some more units actually rallied all the way across the map. I think this is MaxPax, maybe underestimated a little bit. Clem just trying to get damage done wherever that Raven goes back into. Getting more and more kills. Even the defensive structures right here for MaxPax go down. Only to a very small number of units. Yeah, Clem is looking unstoppable here. Whenever Clem is in this mood, I honestly don't know what you do to beat him. When he's on fire, he just looks unstoppable. Hope you enjoyed watching this video, even though it was pretty dang one-sided. I think that's fun every once in a while too, though, right? I mean, recently, we have seen MaxPax beat Clem quite a bit. Apparently not for this particular weekly. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. For now, though, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile. And I hope to see you once again very soon for another video.